Wasserman, and on behalf of Changing Tastes, I want to welcome you to Thank You Africa, which we were honored to have featured as a part of the United Nations 75th Annual Celebration of World Food Day. At Changing Tastes, we work to make the world more sustainable, more just, and more delicious, and food is our medium for doing so. Thank You Africa is our way of using food to change attitudes in the United States around race, heritage, migration, and our legacy of slavery, an intolerable circumstance that continues even today in our global food industry. In the US, our attitudes, including fear and pity, have led us to division, hate, and violence. When we say thank you and show appreciation, we suddenly treat someone as an equal and someone who has done something from which we benefit. In the United States, when we sit down to eat, we have much to thank Africa for. Many of us know Africa as the continent where coffee first grew. We don't always recognize or remember that we also have Africa to thank for many of the foods we consider ours. The enslaved people who hid seeds in their children's hair as they took their middle passage to America, not knowing what would happen or what they would find to eat, brought us chilies, the basis for all those varieties of hot sauces we now love, and rice, and some of the varieties of oats and wheat we enjoy, and tilapia, the world's most commonly farmed fish, and other herbs and spices and vegetables and fruits and grains that make up so much of our American pantry. So we say, thank you, Africa. It's an idea that came to us at Changing Tastes when Penelope Wasserman and I were in Rwanda just about a year ago for a conference at African Leadership University, as we wondered how to shift attitudes about race in America through food. Some of the people who you'll meet today were part of that journey and inspiration. Along with Penelope Wasserman, managing consultant at Changing Tastes, who wrote the poem American Heartland, we'll hear from people whose ancestors came from Africa, who live and work in Africa now, and who are working to bring the flavors of Africa to America. Those include Chef Pierre Tam, co-founder of Yolele Foods and James Beard Award winner with restaurants in Senegal, Nigeria, and New York. Joyce Hill, a contributor at Changing Taste. Faustin Bundu, founder of MFK Group and owner of Kivu Noir Coffee and Garden Fresh, all based in Rwanda. Sandra Gatete, co-founder of City Buddies. Dr. Pascal Bokartiam, who teaches jazz and world music at the University of San Francisco and is owner of the renowned Savannah Jazz Club in the Mission District. And Steve Mangan, head of dining services at the University of Michigan. Let's get started.
Hi, I'm Penelope Wasserman with Changing Tastes. Our Thank You Africa project is meant to start a new and positive conversation and share a little bit of agricultural history that many of foods that are thought of as traditionally American favorite foods actually are indigenous to the African continent and were brought here centuries ago by enslaved people. And our thought is, when you say thank you and acknowledge that, even if you're acknowledging something that happened centuries ago, you create intrinsic human value. You start a conversation about something positive, and perhaps it can be used to build bridges, bring people together, and create kindness in a non-threatening way through food as our medium.
Hello, and thank you, Africa. My name is Pierre Thiam. I'm a chef from Senegal, a cookbook author, the co-founder of Teranga Restaurant in New York City, and of Yolele Food. Yolele is an African food company that works with small farmers in West Africa, and our mission is to bring economic opportunities for those farmers by identifying crops that are underutilized and that are nutritious and opening markets for those crops. Our first crop is called fonio. It's an ancient grain that's been cultivated for 5,000 years, that's gluten-free, very, very nutritious. And we started distributing it in 3 years. In 3 years, we are distributing across the United States at all the Whole Foods in America and Walmart and so on, and of course online with Good Eggs and Thrive Market, Amazon, of course, our own platform, Yorele.com. and it's growing. We have 5 new pilafs in the market, and we have a vision to become the African pantry. And it makes sense to be a part of Thank You Africa, because there's so much to be thankful to Africa when it comes to food in particular. The African captives that came here through the Middle Passage have brought much to this country, and the foundation of America's food system was based on slavery. So it was based on free labor from captive African. So for that reason, we need to be thankful. Every time we have our dish with rice, with okra, we eat watermelon, eggplant, and so many more dishes, ingredients that's been brought here through Africans' labor and African ingenuity. So thank you, Africa.
Hello, thank you, Africa. It's Penelope again, and I wanted to share a poem with you that I wrote called American Heartland, which is essentially the theme of what our Thank You Africa project is all about. But before I read it to you, I would be remiss to not acknowledge the fact that tragically, slavery still exists today in our global food supply chain. And as a mom, as a human, as a citizen of planet Earth, that's not okay with me. And I know that's not okay with you. So I think we've learned a lot from the past, and what we've learned is that all it takes for evil to prosper is for good men to do nothing. So with our Thank You Africa project, which is also, about kindness, gratitude, education, it's also calling you out and saying, this is still going on, this is not okay, and hopefully along with the UN's goal for World Food Day to end hunger by 2030, that we end slavery in the food supply chain globally way before 2030. And Changing Tastes, if we have anything to say about this, we are going to take a stand and try to end this. So in that note, American Heartland. They call it the Heartland, and time has almost erased the fact that the bounty afforded this place came on the backs of the African race. Where does your heartland now that you know? Bound in chains, they brought their grains on Middle Passage journeys. Where does your heartland now that you know? Soon a nation they would feed, a culture they would share. Soon a nation they would feed, creating wealth beyond their captors' greed. And foods now eaten every day are grown and bottled here, without a word or notion that their hearts landed with such fear. A fear from families bound in chains and forced to hide their sacred grains on Middle Passage journeys. Where does your heartland now that you know? Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Faustin Mbundu. I run a group of companies under the names of MFK Group. I'm based in Kigali, Rwanda, and in my group I do various businesses ranging from agriculture, logistics management, and real estate, and other investments. But my portfolio of agriculture in the whole group is the one that pleases me most. And it brings me to the mission of today, which is to participate in the World Food Day, which has been celebrated every year for so many years. At MFK Group, we do coffee in the agriculture sector, as well as under our brand name of Kivu Noir Cafe, and Garden Fresh that sells vegetables, and AfriSoul that deals with animal feed production, serving our poultry farms as well as dairy farms. I must say it's a great pleasure for me today to play a role in this celebration today. And I feel good that I'm playing a part in delivering the Sustainable Development Goals, especially one of ending hunger by 2030. I'm committed to being there for witnessing zero hunger by 2030 indeed. Let me tell you briefly about what we do in my businesses that works towards delivering this promise. We work with cooperatives which ensure that by putting people together and giving them support, we actually help them become able to feed themselves before they actually feed the market. We also do modern farming methods, better crop husbandry practices that our cooperatives learn from us. We have demonstration farms. They learn from us and they copy the same thing and then they supply us. But above all, we also work with women. We've come to understand that women are committed to what they do. They are accountable, they learn quick, and they have passion in what they do. And by supporting women, they also go ahead to support their families and in that way help end hunger. They feed their families. We also play a part in post-harvest management, which reduces pilferage, which reduces wastage. We've put up pack houses, cold chain management, and that has assisted a lot. We also assist newcomers who are coming into similar businesses that we run and teaching them how to have better practices in agriculture. We help them with their soil analysis, their planning, logistics, but above all, they feed into our chain and our value chain. We also do financing lobby with talking to bankers not to concentrate on the low-hanging fruits in trade finance and real estate and tell them, listen, we also need agriculture, we need to feed ourselves before we go into those businesses that have quicker returns and low risk. So we've been campaigning for banks to have a portfolio that shows that they have a big role they are playing in agriculture financing. By employing analysts that understand business of agriculture, that understand how to value our assets in agriculture, because you may have 5 hectares, 10 hectares of land. The valuation is low, but actually the productivity, things that can be reaped from therein, quite a lot and can have bigger value than the actual value that the financing industry gives and discourages credit finance. But we're working around that, and also encourage environment advocacy to make sure that we preserve the environment so that it can continue to give us results, and also coupled with the land policy involvement in land policy use, in land policy development, so that we can ensure sustainability. And we've taken advantage of e-commerce that has opened up markets for us. We are present in America, in the USA, in Canada and the UK, and now going to China, selling our products like KN Cafe from Kivu Noir. And we also do partnerships. We're happy to have partnered with Arlena and Penelope from Changing Tastes, and they're opening doors for us worldwide, and we continue to do our part to play our role in ending hunger by 2030. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joyce Hill from Chicago, Illinois. Thank you, Africa, for the gift of abundance. You have given us so much every day in every way. The continent itself is a great visual of abundance, and we have translated this gift into our cultures today. As one race, the human race of Homo sapiens, we are one tribe of many colors. We are all one. Each of us has received the gift of abundance, and it is up to us to steward responsibly for all. A friend of mine wrote a poem about this great abundance. Her poem is The American Heartland, and paraphrasing her words. They call it the heartland, and time has almost erased the truth that the bounty afforded this place. It came on the backs of the African race. Where does your heart land now that you know? Bound in chains, these grains and knowledge were brought over on long journeys, not recorded in history books, by individuals recorded only as commodities. Where does your heart land now, now that you know? Soon a nation would be fed, a culture created and shared, creating wealth beyond the captor's greed, the precursor of our futures and securities. And foods now eaten every day are grown and bottled here. Disquieted are the words and notions of the Africans who landed in fear, a lasting fear of families bound in chains, bound by distractions of poverty, frustrations, tears, and shame. Now there are only distant memories of these long passage journeys. Where does your heart land now, now that you know? Thank you, Africa, for the gift of abundance, and thank you for the opportunity to give back to others. It is so important, especially today, during the pandemic, the current political discourse, the errors that continue to go on in the world. It is important for us to understand the importance of gratitude and to begin to think about others, what others may need, how others may feel, so that we truly recognize we are all one people of many colors.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Sandra Gatete, and I'm a co-founder at City Buddies, a company that creates and provides tourism products within the Rwandan market, and definitely going to other markets in the future. So my first thoughts on Thank You Africa is that their mission is not far different from what we're trying to achieve as a company. In City Buddies, what we're always trying to do is showcasing and reminding people, the potential, the enormous opportunities within the African spaces, and the hard work and the creativity and innovation within our African spaces. And that, to me, is what's important in many what City Buddies is trying to achieve. And seeing initiatives like these ones that are also doing the same, trying to empower and remind Africans and the rest of the world how much value we're bringing to the table in serving the world as a whole, the world citizen, reminding each and everyone how much, we're, all these favorite foods and all this, coffee we all depend on, where it's from and who's the person behind, that test, all these things we love and enjoy that come from Africa. So, and I believe initiatives like this remind, Africans that, because that is looking at what the media is mostly about, showing Africa as the land that is maybe, behind everyone, and it's the continent that is left behind. But it's not the case, and initiatives like this is like reminding Africans, no, we acknowledge, your contribution to the world. We acknowledge, what you bring to the table, and we enjoy, thank you for providing us that cup of coffee that almost everybody is reliant on. And that reminds mostly young Africans who have seen, who believe that, the best things are out there, the best dishes are the croissant from France, and all these other different, foods that sushi and all these things. But they don't, the Thank You Africa reminds them that even their cuisines and their crops, these are things that are world class, and they're valuable to the world, and that gives back to their pride. They're proud to be called, African, the land that has flourished lands and crops and food. We are not, we're not starving. There's food. We have enough to serve ourselves and even the rest of the world. So yeah, I think this is very key, even to how the world has come to, very torn apart right now. And somehow maybe the African people feel like they're not appreciated. I think this is an initiative that reminds them that we appreciate, you, and we appreciate what you bring to the table. And yeah, that's very influential to young people, because then they're proud to where they come from. And yeah, I think that is what I have to say. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Pascal Bokar-Cham. As we celebrate the food, the ingredients, and the cuisine of the continent of Africa, let us remember the exceptional cultural impact of the three major medieval empires of West Africa, namely the Empire of Ghana of the Soninkés, the Empire of Mali of the Malenkés, and the Songhai Empire. These empires range from the 4th century until the 17th century. So why do they matter to us here in the United States? Well, they matter because these three empires define the cultural standards of aesthetics that will transfer to the southern plantations of the United States as early as the 16th century to the Atlantic slave trade. These standards of aesthetics range from the concepts and rituals of religion, to the cuisine, to the aesthetics of the movement, to the rhythmic pulse of the drums, from which the great Duke Ellington said, "It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing," to the blue notes of the banjo. You heard me. The banjo is from West Africa. There isn't a single banjo in England, Scotland, or Ireland. 99% of African Americans are from West Africa. The banjo, the original banjo, which is this instrument, is the instrument of the people. From Nigeria to Senegal, to Benin, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Liberia, etc. It is also America's oldest melodic, harmonic, and rhythmic instrument. The Malenkés of Mali call it ngoni, the Wolof of Senegal call it khalam, the Americans call it banjo, but it is the same instrument. And while Africans left Africa, Africa never left them. The banjo is the foundational instrument of the blues. It is the umbilical cord to Africa.
They call it the Heartland. Time has almost erased truth that the bounty of Ford in this place came on the backs of the African race. Where does your heartland now that you know? Bound in chains, they brought their grains and little passage journeys. Where does your heartland now that you know? Soon a nation they would feed, culture they would share. Soon a nation they would feed, creating wealth beyond their captors' greed. Foods now eaten every day are grown and bottled here. without a word or notion that our hearts landed with such fear.